Welcome back to Voice of the Founding Fathers, and I'm your host, Dr. D. Lee Pippin. And this one's going to be a quick broadcast, but it's one of concern. Consider this a warning bell going off. They just released the latest results of the SAT scores, and our educational system scored the lowest in the entire history of the SATs. Let me repeat that in case you missed it. The lowest scores in our entire history. Now, some of you may be saying, well, that's nice, but what does it actually mean? Let me put it in plain terms. Our kids are stupid. They can't do simple math. They can't conjugate a sentence. Their vocabulary is about the equivalent of a third grader when they're graduating high school. They may be able to throw a football, kick a soccer ball, throw a baseball, do gymnastics, but they can't read, write, or do arithmetic. And forget science. Matter of fact, don't even let them into the lab because they might blow it up. Because they don't know one chemical from the other. But they know shiny objects, TikTok, Twitter, Grindr, Tinder, all the rest of them. They know all those things. Spend tons of time on them every day. Videos, little snippets, little pictures. Sweet pretty cats. Cute little puppies. All the things that distract us from actual reality. But don't ask them to write about them because they can't write. The good thing for most of them is they've got a computer that has automatic grammar check, spell check. It fixes it for them. It even gives them the suggestions. Put this here, it'll be right. There's a problem with that. I know I'm old, so y'all don't relate to it, but there was a time before calculators. And in that time, you actually had to either be able to do the things in your head or on paper. And even when the calculators came out, we weren't allowed to have them in the classroom. We actually had to be able to solve the problems ourselves. Now I know y'all are saying, well, that's ridiculous. We've come so far. We don't need it. What happens when there is no electricity and internet available? Which does happen from time to time, by the way. You've been in stores where the power goes out, and though the cash register can still be opened and they still know what a total is, your cashier can't give you change because they don't know how to figure how to take $19.56 away from $20 to tell you that you have 44 cents in change. And they need it to tell them how to break that 44 cents apart as well. So it's not a matter of it's unimportant because we don't use it. It's a matter of it's extremely important because we need to use it. And other case in point, what happens when your bank statement's off or your account doesn't have the money in it it's supposed to have? Who fixes that? Who takes care of it? How can you even prove it if you can't do it yourself? If the machine is the only one that gives you the answer, then you better be praying the machine is smarter than you. And there's a whole Orwellian stories about this kind of future where we rely on artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence decides humans aren't worth keeping because they're the only thing destroying the planet and they're too ignorant and stupid to evolve, and they wipe us out. And I know I'm not the only one that has seen some of this in person and questioned, my God, how did this person graduate high school? Or even worse, how did they graduate college? So, not to just complain, I will tell you the solution. We need to stop acting like everyone is equal all the way across the board and everyone should be given their participation trophy. Because that's not the real world. Everyone's not equal. Everyone has positive and negative points. And those positive and negative points should interact with each other to create a positive whole. But not everyone needs to be in college. Not everyone needs to be in tech school. And not everyone can be president of the bank. So therefore, let us promote the strengths in both variations, which this country really needs to promote more of the trade side, because we become too dependent upon outside resources. But for the people that are great with their hands, great with learning by touch, feel, sight, and that's what they want to do, then let's give them the tools to do it and make sure they make a significant enough money to survive. But at the same time, really push those that have the intellect to take us into the 25th century so that we have development, expansion, we find cures to diseases. But what everybody seems to miss on that boat is if you actually have the classroom where it's always taught to the least denominator in the classroom and not the top denominator in the classroom, we will continue to go backwards. Which is why we're going further and further behind other countries. And that is something we're directly responsible for as the people. Every single one of us pays property taxes that go to support education. And every single one of us elects those board of educators, our county school boards. And that feeds up to the state. And instead of talking about nonsense in our educational system, let's talk about the reality of our educational system. And we have some great teachers out there. Don't get me wrong. We have some great teachers. We just don't let them teach. When we stopped teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic and started teaching testing, and we prepped those kids for those tests because those tests we tied to financial resources for those schools. So the higher your school tests, the more money you get. And the higher rating you have, again, the more money you get from the state, from the county, from the feds. It doesn't mean the kids in the school can tie their shoes or even dress themselves. Folks, we need to teach people to be cognitive, to think outside the box, to be creative, and to understand the basic principles. Unless you want a dictatorship of a whole bunch of stupid people, then just keep going the way we're going. That's what you'll get. Just give it another 20 years. So whoever then becomes the new dictator of the country can then corral the morons of the country and then wonder why the country doesn't go anywhere. But that's just my thought on that whole process. Education is the key. Like I said, look for the facts, think for yourself, figure it out. Don't buy the sound bites. But if sound bites are all it's going to entertain you, just sort of like a little TikTok feed, then you go for it and skip the rest. And TikTok can be very entertaining. Twitter can be very entertaining. But the key word to all of that is entertaining, not educating. And there is a difference. A big, big, big difference. And I'm sure tons of you will have statements to make about this. So remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button, and click the like button, and come back and see us again soon. Look forward to hearing from you, and have a great night.